We will have representative from Jeff and also from the various implementing agencies, so that you have an idea on how the funding works and what are the requirements depending on which agency you work with. So stay tuned for that. We will have this webinar sometime in March, and Ravneet will send you an email once the dates are decided. So otherwise, if you have any questions at any time, I think Esteban will be with us for the whole meeting, right, Esteban? Yeah. So if something comes up later, please do not hesitate. So with that, then we have finished this first part of introductions, and so it's time to take a family picture before we dive into the work. Yeah. So if you could please have your camera on so that we can take the picture, please. Very nice to see people in short sleeves and in sunny environments. It's quite cold here in Copenhagen, and I'm sure in Washington as well, for the Jeff colleagues.
Okay, just give a few more seconds for people to on their cameras, and I'll do a countdown. Okay, thank you. So please smile.
CBIT.
Thank you. I think I got it. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Ravneet, and it's really nice to see you, even though it's virtually. And we hope that we will be able to organize an in-person meeting sometime soon this year. So
They've left it again.
Good. So with that, let me now try to share my screen. So our first part in this first part of the meeting, so I will be introducing to you this new project. So the Capacity Building Initiative for Transparency Global Support Program. And yes, John, thank you very much, and good night. So it's short for CBIT-GSP, so as we call it. So this is a global program that's, a global program that's funded by Jeff, implemented by UNEP and executed by the UNEP Copenhagen Climate Center. So this is a project that will be running for 5 years, almost 5 years. So it has started administratively in 2022, April, and will be running until towards end of 2026. We are hoping to be able to deliver as much support as possible and finish before the time, so that there is an opportunity for further support to be implemented afterwards. And we have a budget of approximately 9 million USD. So the main objective of this project is to assist countries submitting their last NCs and BURs under the convention, and support the transition to the BTRs under the Paris Agreement. And it aims also at providing a one-stop shop for transparency. I will explain that a bit later, and mainstreaming gender considerations in transparency reports. So these are the main objectives of the project. And the project has a few components. One of the most important ones is the integrated platform. So this project was the merging and continuation of 2 existing projects that were the CBIT platform and the Global Support Program. So both projects were merged and continued into this next phase to constitute this project. and both projects basically had their own websites. So we had the CBIT platform, and we had the Global Support Program website. So now both websites will be integrated into a new platform and be enhanced through having more functionalities and to become this one-stop shop for transparency. So the idea is that countries and support organizations and transparency practitioners will be able to find all information related to transparency in there, whether it's projects, knowledge products, documents from the countries, reports. So all information related to transparency will be there. We will have also a space where countries could request support, and where we will be doing matchmaking between support providers and support seekers. And also we will have a platform for peer-to-peer exchange. So one of the important aims of this project is really to foster South-South exchange and collaboration. So we are hoping to be able to launch the platform during the SBs in Bonn in June. So now the design phase is completed and we are way on into the development. So here I just wanted to show you just a couple of examples of how this platform will look like, or what it will contain. So I think what would be important or interesting for you is that there will be space for each of the networks. So that will be moderated by the network coordinators. And there you will have all information about the network, all events that are happening, and so on. And also there will be forums for exchange, and you can have there polls, share documents, start a discussion item. And if you have maybe any issue that you are facing, then you can ask peers and experts to help with. So it would be really a forum for discussion and exchange, and we hope that it will be really interactive. So we will have also country pages. So each of the countries will have their own page where all relevant information will be there. And also support organizations that would like to join us here. And we have already many that we are working with. So they all will have their own pages where they can also publish all relevant information and also their initiatives in the platform. So the aim is that this would not be only a platform for the project or for UNEP, but a platform for all transparency practitioners. And one of the main features would be also this page of support. So here we will have a template where countries could ask fill it to request for support, and then the project will do its best to reply to the request. And otherwise it will be matched with support that would be provided by other support providers. So that's the aim here, is to be able to do this matchmaking between support providers and support seekers. So that's about the first component, which is the platform. Then we have the second component, which is gender considerations. So under the previous Global Support Program, a gender toolkit was developed for streamlining gender in national communications. And under this phase of the project, we will be updating the toolkit so that it caters for the BTR. And based on the revised toolkit, we will be providing trainings, regional trainings in all of the networks, and also assisting countries who wish to, through in-country activities, in mainstreaming gender considerations in their transparency reports. So this would be an activity that will be offered towards the second half of this year. We will have also another component, which is a development of knowledge products. So we have a number of knowledge products and policy briefs and so on that we have to produce within the project. And we are now currently working into identifying what are the areas and gaps where knowledge products will be required, because currently there are a lot of organizations that are working on various types of documents. So it's important that we do not duplicate efforts and that we respond to a need rather than just producing something for the sake of it. So here a lot of coordination work would be needed, and really targeting what's the area where knowledge products would be required. The fourth component, it's basically the provision of capacity building on the ground to countries. And this is where we are taking on the concepts of the networks that have been developed under the Global Support Program. So under the Global Support Program, there were 13 networks with various degrees of activities. So under this phase of the project, we have streamlined the networks, and now we have 10 that you can see in your screen. So Spanish-speaking Latin America, Anglophone Caribbean, Lusophone cluster, the MENA network, Francophone network, Anglophone Africa network, Eurasia, Central Asia and the Caucasus, Asia and the Pacific. So we have now all these networks that are operational, apart from the MENA and Eurasia, that's for whom we are still recruiting network coordinators, and we hope to start activities there in the very near future. So with these networks, the first activities that we are doing is the capacity need assessment, so that we identify what are the areas of need in each of the networks, and based on that define the priorities for support for each of the countries, and draft a work plan. And then start with the provision of support. In many areas, the provision of supports had already started based on the requests from countries or from priorities that have been identified during the first phases of the project. So we are not starting from scratch, but we are building on some of the work that has been done last year. Basically that's the capacity need assessments that would be the basis for our work, is what has been done also for the Pacific, and Ravneet will be sharing with us the results in the next presentation. So we will be also doing a quality review of transparency reports with the aim of assisting countries and helping them enhance submissions to the UNFCCC, quality of submissions to the UNFCCC, and also help with accelerating the submissions so that they can have access to the funding of the BTR. Until now, we have done 13 reviews for the countries that you have seen. So the reviews can be of the BUR, of the national communications, of national inventory reports, and in the next couple of years, we will have reviews also of the BTRs. So to access this support, you can just contact us directly, contact the project team, either also have a request support form from the website, or also get in touch with your JEF implementing agency, and that will be contacting us, and we would be happy to provide this support for you. So the other activities that we do within this component is trainings and workshops. and hands-on training. So this based on the capacity need assessments that have been identified. So we identify both national, regional, and also global trainings that we will be providing and workshops that we will be providing. So until now, we have done already quite a few. Unfortunately, not yet in the Pacific, but in some of the other networks, we have already done some activities last year. And one of the most important activities is in-country activities. So based also on the needs of the countries, we are able to support with in-country activity. For instance, if a country needs support with institutional arrangements, we are able to go and assist with that activity. It could be different things depending on the needs. And again, to access this activity, many of them we have defined already through the needs assessment that has been done, but also there is a possibility to ask for support directly to the project team or through the request for support form. We have also participated in many events, so to make the project a little bit more known, mainly virtually, but also in a COP where we have participated to many side events. So here, last but not least, so I have here this slide so that you can get to know the project team. So we have in the team in Copenhagen, we have with us my colleague Suzanne and Alejandro, who are on leave now, but who will be also working with you quite closely. And also we have the network coordinators that you can see in your screens. Ravneet, of course, for the Pacific, and we have a number of others for all other networks. And as I mentioned, we still have 2 networks that we are recruiting for. So we very much look forward to working with you in this project and to respond to the needs that have been identified. And therefore, before finishing, I would like to invite Ravneet to introduce himself.
Thank you, Fatima Zara. Hola, everyone. My name is Ravneet Diwan. I'm based in Fiji, and I'm the regional coordinator for the Pacific. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Ravneet, and thank you to the Ministry of Economy, you said, for hosting Ravneet for today. Very much appreciated. So if you have any questions about the project, or if more questions for Esteban have came up, please raise your hand or write them in the chat as you wish. So questions, comments? It seems not. So then we will be very efficient during this meeting. So then we can, is there specific allocation of the budget amongst the regions? There is allocation in terms of the, just like, for instance, we will be doing one in-person, at least one in-person meeting per region. But in terms of activities, it depends on the needs and also how much an activity could cost. So we have some networks where we have maybe 9 countries, like in the Anglophone Caribbean, and we have some networks where we have, for instance, 22 countries, like Anglophone Africa. So the numbers are not the same. So it's very hard to say there is like, I don't know, I'm just giving a number, 100,000 for this and 100,000 for that. It just depends on the needs. But what we are hoping for is that to have at least one in-person training or workshop per network per year through different partnerships, and maybe more than that if possible, but it would depend on the interest from also other organizations and their budget. But in terms of coordinators, we have coordinators in all regions. So in that sense, they are kind of treated almost equally in that sense. And for instance, in the Pacific, though, and the Caribbean, because we know that countries need a bit more support than probably maybe in Latin America, we have coordinators that are there full time, while, for instance, in Central Europe, we have only part-time coordinators. So it's just an indication on how things are distributed, but it's mainly really depends on the needs, and we try to accommodate most of the needs coming from the different networks. Is there a due date for submission of requests? No, there is no due date, but the earlier is better, because as you will see, we are trying to finalize the work plan. So we will try to give priority to the activities that have been already identified and confirmed with countries. And then once other activities come in, it would be dependent on how much we are able to respond to it. But we are hoping to be able to respond to all requests, even if not in the first year of the project, then later. If we want to review, what is the process? How long does it take for the process to review the NC? So if you would like to review, which country are you, Alilia? So you can just make it, put it in the, sorry, Samoa?
This is Tonga.
Sorry, could you?
Tonga.
Okay, yeah, Tonga, sorry, couldn't hear properly. Yeah, thank you. You can just send us an email. That should be enough. And we usually, it usually takes around 3 weeks to review the NC and send it to you with comments, and we can organize a meeting afterwards to go through the comments and if there are some issues that need to be corrected and so on. Yeah, so we try to have things as easy as possible, so there aren't a lot of admin work that's needed. So just write us an email, and it should be possible to respond to this. Yeah, any further questions or comments? I mean, you are free also to comment to see if the approach is okay for you. Yeah, I see Espen. You have the floor.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for the presentation, and good to see you, Ravneet. It's not that long ago we were in Egypt together, so congratulations on this new post. I just wanted to make the comment that we do have some existing processes and programs in the region that could dovetail well with what you presented on. For example, we have representatives from the Pacific NDC Hub on the call. I'm from the Pacific community, but there's also the Regional Environment Program. So do consider us as partners in this exercise, and we'd be happy to assist. I have shared with Ravneet some of the early work that we did around CBIT. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get it over the finish line, but anyway, there's quite a bit of intellectual work that's been done, so and we'd be happy to share. But certainly the NDC Hub is also in a good position to be a partner in this endeavor. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Espen. Which organization are you? Sorry.
The Secretary of the Pacific Community. SPC.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Yeah, thank you very much for raising this because as a project, even if we want to, we cannot work in isolation. So there are many support providers and many organizations that are active in the region, and we have to collaborate if we want to provide the most appropriate support to countries. So, for instance, just with the UNEP, UNDP, and FAO and the others. So these programs comes as an addition to the national CBIT, to enabling activities and so on. So we really have to coordinate. And we have already had some meetings with the NDC Hub, the regional NDC Hub in the Pacific. And we are exploring possibilities to collaborate and deliver some of the activities together. So yeah, thank you for pointing that out. And this is just the start, and we will be coming in to discuss with further partners to see how we can work together more synergetically. Rebecca?
Thank you. Just to come in very briefly and confirm that yes, and Iris is writing the same, that yes, we're very, very happy to have you. And thank you for raising this, Espen and Fatima. We look forward to staying in touch also with you, Ravneet. Yes, we've already been in touch a lot. So looking forward to more collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rebecca, and we also look forward to working more closely with you. And thank you also, Iris, as well. So if there are no further comments, then let us move to the next presentation, which will be the presentation of the capacity need assessment that we have done in the region. And so Ravneet, you have the floor.
Thank you, everyone. Just before I start, can we just do another round of the group photo, please? I think I did not get it to save, actually. I do apologize. We can just turn on our cameras again, please, and see all the lovely faces. "30 seconds more for everyone to turn on their cameras. Okay, thank you. So just I'll give a countdown. Please smile.
I think some people are still coming in, so just maybe give it a couple more seconds.
Save that one. Okay, let's do another one. Please smile. Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Let me just share my screen. Thank you. Is everyone able to see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Thank you. And Bula, everyone, and welcome to the first inception meeting for the CBIT-GSP program. Like I mentioned, I am Ravneet. I'll be the regional coordinator for the GSP program, and you can always get in touch with me through email, through WhatsApp, or whichever means you think is suitable for you, and I will be able to help you, support you, or answer any questions. So just to start off, we had done our survey in late last year in December. We sent out survey forms to all the 14 Pacific Island countries in the region, and we had received responses on the survey, and this assessment report is based on the survey, some desktop research, and some meetings with the focal points. And this survey mostly looks at the capacity needs in the area of JG inventory, NDC tracking, adaptation and its impacts, also looking at loss and damage and support needed and received. So basically what we are trying to do is through our program, we are trying to help countries identify what their needs are in terms of transparency in the space of transparency, and how the new guidelines on ETF will affect the region and how we can work on it. So in the survey, we had a lot of questions asked, and I'll be basically presenting on the responses. So the first question we asked was how is the overall transparency system in the Pacific, and how does are all the 14 Pacific Island countries aware about it? So there was mixed responses. I guess we fall in the fair and poor category right now, and there were not many responses, not many people who had identified that they actually know a lot about transparency and the ETF requirements. So as you can see, those were the responses. Some countries said that it is quite fair. They know what ETF is, what transparency entails in the future, and but they need further guidance on it. And there were some countries who said, no, we do lack the knowledge, and then I guess that's why we are here. We are here to support and enhance your understanding. When we talk about transparency, institutional arrangement, it goes hand in hand. So the same group of people basically said that, the institutional arrangements in the countries, it's not quite up to par or quite that of what a developed country would have. There are challenges. There are a lot of national challenges in terms of having a very robust institutional arrangement. And having a robust institutional arrangement, it basically helps in all the flow of data and information, which will eventually lead to a good reporting. So I guess there is a need, very much big need of getting the institutional arrangements in all the Pacific countries together. And yeah, so we'll be providing, like Fatima Zara already mentioned, we'll be providing webinars on how to transition to ETF, and institutional arrangements would be one of the sections covered in that, and you'll learn more on how to improve it, and what maybe you can always compare what are the existing practice and how you can always enhance. Implementing the ETFs, yes, many countries said that they are not familiar of the ETF. And I remember when we used to go to COP, transparency is an agenda that was followed by very limited countries. And it was like about 3 or 4 or max 5 countries following transparency. I guess that's where challenge is that mostly we do not have enough people in our countries to actually look into this kind of these areas. But nevertheless, this is quite very important to understand ETF and the BTR. And for information, BTR everyone will be required to submit BTR from 2024 and onwards. And though we have a bit of flexibility in terms of submission of BTRs, because currently, right now, through the survey, I have noticed that most countries are still preparing the BURs, and 2024 is just next year. So I guess it will be very fitting for us to be part of this the training, the webinar where you will understand the transition of ETF, and then take that knowledge. And when you finish your BUR and move to the BTR preparations, you have a fair idea of what's happening and how to go about it. And talking about ETF, the funding always comes from GEF, and there is executing agencies of GEF that helps countries to prepare the reports. Executing countries, when I speak about them, they are mostly UNDP, FAO, UNEP. They are the three currently major players in the Pacific, if I can say. And so the responses for the status of funding has been like such. Only 5 countries have their BTR approved by GEF right now, and there are 5 other countries who do not have any, who have not yet taken any steps. But definitely we will provide the support and try to assist you to actually take the next step on how to identify how to actually approach GEF and get executing agencies on board and request for this support. Yes. Moving on the institutional arrangements on the ETF areas. So ETF is mostly broken down into different thematic areas, and greenhouse gas inventory, NDC tracking, adaptation, loss and damage, and support needed and received. These are all the criteria or all the areas that a country will be reporting in the biennial transparency report. So we looked at how is the institutional arrangements within these areas per country, and the response was similarly to the general institutional arrangements. It was particularly very similar. There are countries who do not have proper institutional arrangements in place in each of these thematic areas. The major reason is the lack of capacity. We do lack the people who have this knowledge and who can help us into building a proper and robust institutional arrangement. And another thing is that sometimes we do have a document which says that okay, this is how you get information data from different agencies, but we lack the legal mandate to actually get this implemented. We see a lot of stakeholders, private stakeholders, they are not willing to share information, and that's one of the reasons that we do not have enough data to input in our reports. So these are the major drawbacks and challenges that we face in the Pacific, and hopefully we can through time actually improve. On the technical capacities to collect the data and information, similar responses. We fall in mostly in the fair, poor, and the absent category. There is a lack of data or information in the Pacific. There is not proper recording of data, and there are challenges within organizations because there are organizations that do not have enough resources, not enough manpower to actually gather the information and the data. So that's one of the reasons that most of the countries have opted to say that it's fair or poor. And then when we do build capacities within the countries, there is a very high turnover of staff, and then we lose precious people with the knowledge, and it's not always passed on. So these are some of the challenges, and there are also not much opportunities provided sometimes. So these are the reasons maybe all the countries have selected in the fair and poor category. So moving on to the capacities on the greenhouse gas inventory. So everyone in the Pacific, they use the 2006 IPCC guidelines. And that's good that everyone is on the same page. And when we do provide trainings or any materials, it will be shared to everyone. And the use of software. So most countries have not yet started using the IPCC software as of yet. And only 3 countries have responded that they are using it. It is in practice. 4 of the countries said, no, we are totally not using it. And some countries are partially using it. So maybe it's when, for example, when there is reporting requirements, projects, we have to submit our NCs. What happens, we take the criterias in the IPCC software and then put it in Excel and send it to all the stakeholders for data collection. So that's the normal practice in the region. And but the countries are not fully aware about that there is a software, you can input data there, and then it can be used to actually produce reports and results and analysis. On the status of QA and QC in the Pacific, again, many countries have opted to say no. There is quite challenge in getting a proper quality assurance and quality control processes in place in countries. I guess it's all around the same challenges, same issues, lack of capacity, lack of information. And but yes, there is about 5 countries that have said that they are partially using it. So I guess it's not a total no. We can always learn from these organizations, these countries, on how things have been implemented and how to go about this. Assessment of capacities in the NDC tracking and modeling tools. So we also asked all the countries what modeling tools were used for the NDCs, and I guess there was not many responded not sure because maybe the person doing the survey was not at that, not very heavily involved in the NDC preparation, or they're not aware. So that's why they opted to say not sure. But apart from that, I see that Fiji has used the GACMO modeling, and the Vanuatu and Solomon has used the LEAP. So it may be quite similar what the other countries have used, but yeah, we can have a bilateral meeting and just able to we can get more understanding on what was used, and if there is a lack of capacity, we can actually try to figure out ways how we can provide that and improve, because I guess we will have to prepare the updates for NDCs, and we also need to know how things are being tracked. So as we move to the next graph, you see that there is only 10 countries that are partially tracking their NDC targets, NDC progress, and sorry, yeah. So we see that most countries have sponsored that it's being partly tracked. They have set their NDC targets, but yeah, we do lack the capacity to actually people to actually track what are the mitigation actions being executed, or how the progress is going, how the adaptation actions are, what's the status. So actually, maybe there is a need to actually have people only focusing on this area to actually track, so that because it's quite a big task to actually track your NDC targets. And I see that Kiribati has not doing anything. Only Palau and Micronesia has said yes, they have something, they are tracking it, and they're using it. And the other countries, they're partially tracking it. So yeah, there is a need to also improve on that. Is in adaptation impacts, loss and damage. So moving on to tracking, we also need to track our adaptation actions. I see that mostly 5 countries has said that no, they are not tracking it, but 3 have said that Fiji, Kiribati, and Vanuatu, they are actually monitoring their adaptation actions. I guess the other 5, they're Tonga, Palau, Niue, Samoa, and Nauru, they're partially doing it. So yeah, it all comes down to how do you track the system, how do you track your adaptation actions and initiatives, and that's how you can always improve. So basically, we probably try to assist in terms of getting some knowledge sharing between these 3 countries that are already doing it, and advise or do some peer-to-peer learning on the countries that are not, and get some idea on how to go about this process. NAP status in the Pacific, only 4 countries have completed their NAP, and most countries have their NAP classified as joint national action plans. So the NAP is National Adaptation Plans, but like Nauru, Niue, actually they have their joint national action plans, which is also as regarded as a national adaptation plan. So I guess other countries might have the similar approach to it, and but I see that there are countries who are progressing right now in developing it, and there are countries who have not started. So again, providing in terms of support, we can actually get in touch with the countries that have completed, and hear them out and see how has things developed and how this was done. Assessment of loss and damage. So interestingly, everyone has said no, they are currently not assessing their loss and damage or tracking their loss and damage within the countries. I guess loss and damage is something that been asked by the PCITs a lot in the negotiations, and we see that last year there was actually some kind of positive side to it when we saw that there would be support provided to it, and we can build on that moving forward. But currently, Fiji is the only country tracking loss and damage. They are doing it on a scenario basis. They look at communities and community by community and see what are the challenges, what are the difficulties, and they're doing some survey analysis and other activities in those communities to actually identify this. So some of the key takeaways of the assessment was that it is quite clear that the knowledge of ETF and reporting of the BTR is very much in need in the Pacific. there is a lack of capacity, and then we will be assisting countries to develop this. Institutional arrangements, a major challenge, inventory, knowing how to model, do the modeling, using modeling tools, the use of IPCC software, all the different sectors, how it is done. This is classified as a need in the Pacific. Also, NDC tracking, adaptation and impacts, loss and damage. These are all critical areas that needs support, and I guess the whole report would show that that there is a need in the Pacific to actually get some support in these areas. Priority support needed for the Pacific. This is basically what was the response from the survey. More people have responded that we need capacity building than the inventory tracking and support for received and needed. So yes, moving on to the next slide. We would need to provide, I think this assessment has provided a clear guidance for us at the GSP program. We know that what are the areas that are there that we can provide support in, and these are the areas that we will be looking at in the 4 years to come. The whole program is will end in 2026, so it's not immediate. Maybe there is some support that would not just come next week, next month, or on this year, but it will come, but maybe next year or something like that. This is the request for support on climate transparency. This will be shared after this inception meeting. I think I have mentioned it to some countries who I had bilateral meetings with. You will be able to request for support from this form by filling out this form, and whatever area you request, and then we will have a look at it and see what's the best case scenario, what we can do into providing this support. We can do trainings, we can do webinars, we can do technical assistance. So the whole CBIT-GSP program will be able to provide technical assistance and training programs, all those technical assistance, not in terms of monitoring. Unfortunately, I had a few bilaterals and people were asking if there is some monetary support. Unfortunately, there is not, but we are. I will be always in the lookout with other donor organizations, other development partners, and will always be able to inform you better. So this will be sent out to you by today or tomorrow latest, and you please do fill this in. And I know that you have responded to the survey questions, but if you think that there is something else that you need support for, please do fill this in. And when you are filling it in, if you have any questions, do please contact me, and I will be able to guide you and answer any questions. I guess it will be best if we do it together. It will provide more support and more understanding on how we work. Okay, thank you. These are the main people behind the scenes. Fatima Zara, our project coordinator in Copenhagen, and Suzanne. She's also based in Copenhagen, currently on leave, and myself, Ravnit. Thank you. And if you have any questions, please do raise your hand or put it in the chat, and we will try to respond. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Ravnit, for presenting the outcome of this assessment. So as we can see, there is quite a lot of needs that have been identified and many priorities that countries have mentioned, among which one of the most important is basically the institutional arrangements, but also familiarity with the ETF, and also IPCC guidelines and inventory matters. So these are kind of the really basics of transparency, and I think there is a need to deal with them as soon as possible. Though LDCs and SIDS have discretion as per the MPGs of the modalities and procedures for transparency, but I think as much as possible, if all countries are able to report through the BTR, that would be the best outcome possible, because the BTR does not only have mitigation, but also reporting on adaptation, loss and damage, and also support needed and received, which are very important elements for LDCs and SIDS. So with that, I would like now to open the floor if you have any comments or questions. I see that our colleague Kirata says that she is, or he is, I'm sorry, I cannot tell, very keen to learn from Fiji on assessing loss and damage. So we would be happy to make the contacts with Fiji to see their interest. We have tried actually to identify some areas where countries can learn from each other's, what they would like to learn from and what they would like to share. You will see that reflected in the draft work plan, but we are happy to get more ideas, and as much as the country that is requested to share agrees, we can organize that, we can support the exchange. So all the presentations and the documents will be shared after this meeting, either today, as Ravneet has mentioned, or tomorrow. And thank you, Nue, for correcting the status of the NAP. I think, yeah, so we would need to correct that in the capacity need assessment. And we have looked also into the NAP because it's quite important also for the BTR, because the provisions for NAP and the provisions of the adaptation in the BTR are have a lot of similarities. So if you have done your NAP, you should be able to do to a large extent the adaptation part of your BTR. Yes, Ravneet?
Thank you, Fatima Zahra. So I have the adaptation expert in the room with me. So he has agreed to give some comments. Pass it over.
Thank you, Ravneet. Bull again from Fiji. Just in terms of how we assess our loss and damage here in Fiji, we undertake a lot of planned relocation, which is state-led. And with that, we need the right data to help us in undergoing our work. And this data is available with the Divisional Commissioner's Office, internal databases where they have reports from individual communities. And we're also undertaking nature-based solution seawalls, where coastal communities that have been affected by coastal and sea level rise inundation. So just on that aspect, that we have those data on loss and damage and analysis and assessments. And cost benefit analysis, especially.
Good. Thank you very much for providing that clarifications. Would you be open to organizing a webinar with to see what's your approach, what data you have used, what methods, what tools, That's, I think, what Kirata maybe is asking for.
Sure. Happy to share with our Pacific brothers and sisters. I'm sure Ravneet here can help organize that.
Yeah. Thank you very much for agreeing to that. So that would probably be our first or second webinar in the region. So thank you, Fiji. Any questions, comments? Yeah, I think many other countries would be happy to learn also from the experience. So I think probably it would be good to have a webinar with all interested colleagues present. And then if there is a need to have something bilaterally with Fiji, then that can also be organized. Yes, Noim?
Hi, everyone, colleagues. This is Noim here, sitting in the same room with Ravneet in the Ministry of Economy and Climate Change, and happy to see Fatima again. So I think why I'm here, because we're running the capacity building initiative for transparency projects in Fiji. We've got the support from the TIP with the long foundation work with the climate change division here, as well as with the UNEP. And yeah, we're happy to be part of this session. And I'm just wondering, Fatima and Ravneet, that what will be the mechanism that we could share our experience with our Pacific colleagues. For example, there are only 3 other CBIT projects, 1 completed in PNG, and I think through APO, there are 2 other projects happening in Vanuatu and Solomon Island. So just wanted to understand the mechanism that it would be a kind of joint knowledge sharing experience from your side and bringing our examples, or what you see from now on, and do you have any time plan for that? Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you very much, Noim, for that question, and also for your willingness to collaborate in sharing experience. I think that's one of the main interests from having a network and working among a smaller group of countries. So normally within the CBIT platform component that I have mentioned, we will be organizing a series of webinars, but mainly from projects, CBIT projects that have been finalized, so that have recently concluded. So the idea is to share that experience and the knowledge that has been done, lessons learned, what has worked and what didn't work, and so on. So we will be organizing that webinar series across the globe, basically. But there is, if you think there are some interesting experiences that need to be shared even before the projects are finalized, we would be happy to organize also maybe a webinar with either one country or a couple of countries that are having their CBIT projects still active. So we can discuss bilaterally afterwards in the coming days to see what are the possibilities or how we can make this happen.
Thank you. That's it.
Okay. Any further questions or comments? Yes, let me just see the chat. You have a calendar of events for those webinars to share with us. Yes, we have a draft work plan that will be the topic of the next presentation. But for now, all the dates are still tentative. And as you see, like we have already added 2 webinars at least during this meeting. So things will be moving in the next couple of weeks. But hopefully we will have kind of a more fixed calendar quite soon. However, we would like to be still flexible and able to accommodate the needs as they arise. But we have like a tentative calendar of events and of activities that Ravneet will be presenting now. So I think now it's a good time to go to present the work plan.
Yes, thank you, Fatima Zara. Let me share my screen.
Me too, sorry.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Yes, these documents have been shared with you in the calendar invite, but we will be sharing it again after the session, and yeah, and you can have a look at it. And yes, as Fatima has already said, they are still at tentative dates, and there is also room for improvement on it. Thanks. So the approach of the annual work plan was basically through the assessment report and the bilateral meetings that have been done and that will be done, and some desktop review. In terms of bilateral meetings, very happy to do bilateral meetings from tomorrow and onwards. Once I share the support request form, I guess this is a good time to identify what the need is and actually put it in the form and send it to us. And then we can always include it in our work plan. So the work plan is a live document, like I already said. We can always improve and add things to it. And we can always also try to remove something which is not needed. All the dates are tentative, and the work plan has only those activities that will be planned for this year. Like I said, the program is for 2026, but this work plan is basically only for this year. So the proposed regional activities, where all the countries will be involved, mostly, we'll have a webinar on the ETF guidance and the BTR coming soon. If I got the information correct, there will be one in March, and then yeah, the one in March. So I guess this will be in the first quarter. Apologies for this. And then we will be launching our CBIT-GSP platform. Like Fatima Zara already mentioned, this will be done in the bond sessions, and this platform will contain all the type of information that we get from you, all the support that has been requested, all the nominations that has already been done, of focal points, thematic area experts, and everything on knowledge sharing, all relevant documents, and every country will have a specific section for their country and all the information. So it's mostly something similar to what the NDC Hub has on their website. If you have already seen it, it has quite a lot of information, and we are doing something quite similar. But we have other networks within our platform, all the other Africa, Asia, Caribbean networks. And then we'll be having a support needed and received virtual workshop in the third quarter of this year. And it will actually help us. This was identified in the priority areas. There are some countries who requested for this, and it will be good that all the countries understand and have gained the knowledge of how even tracking the support needed and received is very important, and how we can use that information to lobby in more client finance for the visits. regional workshop on the NDC tracking. So we will be having a in-person meeting planned in the third quarter of this year. That will go together with our network meeting. It will be held in Fiji, and we'll be going through the NDC tracking trainings and actually help countries identify what are the tools available, how to track, and maybe also get some understanding with other countries on how peer-to-peer learning and get more information how things are being done. Because like Fiji also mentioned that Fiji is happy to share with the Pacific brothers and sisters. So I guess I just wanted to embark the same message because the thing is we are all in this together and we have similar challenges. So we need to talk to each other, have that arrangement where we have regional dialogues, the Talanoa that we always refer to, and get that information from one place to another, and share that knowledge. We'll be also having a global multi-regional presentation on the gender toolkit that will be happening later this year in the third quarter, where countries will be also get knowledge on how gender is being actually how the efforts on getting gender into the climate space happening in other regions and what are the good practices to adapt to. We'll also have an institutional arrangement for transparency virtual workshop. We will try to get Fiji. We currently have some level of communication with Fiji that they will be able to present. They have just started with their CBIT project, and they are currently building on the MRV framework, the institutional arrangements. They are preparing documents actually on how they will try to get the institutional arrangements mandated through cabinet submissions, through getting approvals from the cabinet, from the parliament, and all those. So this all will be shared. And similarly, we will be approaching also PNG, who has already submitted, already finished their CBIT project in the FOLU sector, and probably get some knowledge and understanding on how things have been developed there also. So these are the regional planned activities that will be happening this year. National activities, please do not be disappointed if your country's name is not up there. The reason for the support request form is basically for this. Once we identify what's needed, we will be putting it up in the national activities category. So some hands-on training already on the modeling tools, GEPMO, which Fiji has used, and the LEAP software that has been used. So we will be providing some in-person trainings. This will be only done in the country. We will try to get experts in that area and come in and train the group of people within the country. So Tonga, Samoa, they did prioritize that GAG inventory training is needed, and we have actually inputted it in our added it in our work plan, and we'll be trying to provide in-person training, or if not virtual, or we'll see how it works. Because I guess we in Fiji there was a virtual training organized last time back in 2020, which was quite fruitful. They had a group of people who actually had the feel of the IPPC software, but I guess this is much needed again in other countries as well. Because from when I remember sitting in that training, I don't see anyone back there, any staff who attended the training still in the country. So that's quite a challenge. But we will be looking at ways how we can sustain these activity materials, training materials, and then have it in country so that they can always provide it to new recruits, new staffs, and build that capacity. Sorry about that. NDC tracking tools. This was also highlighted by Tuvalu, Kiribati, and we are trying to get in-country activities on this. Support for institutional arrangements for the ETF in at least one country. So this will be mostly on helping to identify the gaps in that country, what the institutional arrangements are. In the responses, someone in where they actually did indicate that they need some assistance in the institutional arrangements area, and they're looking to implement those arrangements and set up a MRV system. So we have taken that into account, and we will be providing some support. At least 2 peer reviews on of NCs, like Micronesia and Palau. They are currently finishing off with their international communications, so we can probably organize peer-to-peer reviews between those 2 countries, help to understand what are the challenges or something that one has done and the other has not done, and we can always get a conversation going between those 2 countries and get more understanding on this. So this is not only limited to these countries. This will be developed, added more. We will be adding more to this once we get actual responses on the support request that will be sent out today or by latest tomorrow. And then when I send this out, I will be also sending out some calendar invites on suggested timeframes for us to have a discussion, a bilateral discussion with all the countries, and see how we can how you will be able to input, fill out the survey response, fill out the support form, and then we can discuss further on what's needed. Okay, thank you. So those were the activities in the region and national activities that we have recorded in our work plan. Thanks. Well, the work plan also has some knowledge sharing documents that will be developed. That will be up on our website once it's launched, the GSP platform. Thanks. Happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ravneet. So now the floor is open if you have any comments or questions. Maybe Ravneet, if you can keep the slide of national activities on, I think this would be helpful for the discussion. So, any comments, any questions? Do you think that the areas identified respond to the needs? Maybe we can go country by country. Ravneet, if you can put on the national activity slide. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one. Thank you. So maybe if we start with the colleagues from Fiji, whether they would consider that the training on modeling tools on GASMO is a priority. Would you agree with this, or do you think that you would rather have another support instead of this training?
Yeah, thanks, Fatima. I think I can speak on behalf because in the room we have the adaptation specialist. So this request actually came from the mitigation team to have this training. So they were quite keen to have this because they are developing their BURs, finalizing their BURs, and they have already submitted the request for BTR, and it has been approved. So they did confirm that this training is needed. Thanks.
Good.
That's
Thank
really-
you.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for that, Ravneet. Then maybe we move to the colleagues from Vanuatu and PNG on the LEAP training. Do you think that's appropriate, or you would rather have another type of support?
Hi, Fatima.
Yes.
Okay, so Jason here for PNG. Yeah, confirmed that yes, we would need hands-on training on the moderators.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear properly.
Sorry, just confirming that yes, we need the training for the moderators.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. And you are from where, Jason?
PNG.
PNG. Okay. Great. Thank you very much for the confirmation. And as a colleague is saying that yes, it will be appropriate. So I guess it's the colleague from Vanuatu. Yeah, perfect. So that's very good. Thank you very much. Then we probably move to the next one, training on IPCC software from Tonga and Samoa. Yes, Tonga seems to be in agreement. Thank you for that. And the colleagues from Samoa.
Hello. Yes, hello, this is Anna Rasmussen from Samoa. We confirm that the greenhouse gas inventory training on the IPCC software guideline is one of our proposed national activities as well.
Great, thank you very much.
And we would also like, if there's a chance, we can do the same number one as well. I'm not sure if my colleague Toyata is online with the NDC, but she will reconfirm on the NDC track. But they are doing work with the NDC Hub, so I suppose that's where the activity is at. But we could do both if in natural fact, we would like to request for all the trainings. They're all relevant to us as well, including loss and damage, as well as and the other one. But we would like to be part of the 1 and 2 if that's okay as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we will try our best to accommodate the request. But for 1, is it GASMO or is it LEAP that you are looking for?
Sorry, is it what?
Another modeling tool? Is it which modeling tool are you looking for the first activity?
Oh, the first one.
Mm-hmm. You said 1 and 2, no?
Oh yeah. We want to be part of the GHG emissions modeling tools as well, the hands-on training, as well as specifically training on the IPCC software and guideline, given our transition to the BTR and the national inventory system as well. At the same time, we are now working. We are almost we have to submit the letter of agreement to UNEP to be part of the CBIT project at that global support under the GF. So it's good to now understand to link the activities so that we would utilize to the best of our ability the trainings under the CBIT-GSP with our friend Ravneet at Fiji office to coordinate with us on these trainings. But we're very much happy to support the in-person, but also the virtual trainings.
Good. Thank you very much for that. That's well noted.
We have some comments, please, going forward for the loss and damage as well. If there's any training on that, then we would like to come back to confirm some also request to be part of that training. But for now, thank you very much for this.
Yeah, thank you very much for the comments. And yes, we are aware that most countries have identified loss and damage as a priority. So we didn't include it this year for the simple reason that we are not yet ready for it. So we are hoping for a bit more guidance coming from the negotiations, and also to develop a few more tools on loss and damage, so that we are able to do a training that's useful for countries. So that's why we didn't prioritize it for this year, but we will certainly have a training on that next year. And we note your interest. So I think that would be, if we would do a training on loss and damage, I think it will be a regional one, because I think all countries, or at least most of the countries, are interested in the topic. So Solomon Island, I see in the chat, so they would like to have 1, 2, 3, and 5. So all of them. So there would be a need to prioritize, I think, at some point, because I mean, one thing is that many countries have either national CBIT or enabling activities that will be also taking care of some of the areas of needs that are identified. So the idea is not to duplicate the work, and so they are also able to do according to their work program. But also the project is 5 years. So now we have a bit more than 4 years to go. So if something is not prioritized this year for a country, then there is always a possibility to do it the year after. So don't worry if we are not able to respond to everything. But also, even though it would be good to record the requests, so we can see if another partner is maybe able to respond to that need and support, and we can help in making contact, and also in organizing the support as needed with the partners that's identified. So is there any training on Article 6 tracking as part of NDC tracking? Some NDCs have communicated using carbon markets in NDC. We will touch upon that in the NDC tracking training, but we have not for now identified an activity. I don't think any of the countries have mentioned actually Article 6, support for Article 6. But I think we will be touching upon that in the training that we will be doing on NDC tracking, and then we will adapt if more countries would like to have that kind of support. But like on the transparency part, not capacity building on Article 6, because there are a lot of other programs that are providing that capacity for Article 6. So I see the colleagues from Vanuatu saying that they would like to be included in activity 4, and Samoa would like to participate in Article 6 carbon markets, noted. Niue supporting person training involvement for inclusion, so Article 6 also. Niue, which, sorry, the first element, I'm not sure which one you are referring to. If you would like to take the floor, you are welcome to do so. You mean like the first, the modeling tools? The modeling tools. Yeah, so we are noting that. Yes, okay, good. And Tonga would like to participate in 1 and 2. Okay, so you have already 2, then you would like to add 1. Yes, that's noted. So how about the colleagues from Tuvalu and from Kiribati?
Thank you for the floor. Jamie here from Tuvalu. I think for number 3, I'll just have to get in touch with my colleagues from the NDC Hub if this is also possible to do, so there's no duplication. But I think for this work plan, number 4 would be adamant for Tuvalu, because at the moment we don't have a institutional arrangement for the ETF in place. So maybe this year we can switch to number 4. But thank you for the support.
Yeah, thank you very much for that comment. I see Palau who would like 3 and 4. So you are in 5, but you would like 3 and 4. So we are not in that. And our colleague from Cook Islands supports the trainings as well. Which ones do you think is a priority for you, the colleague Celine? Celine, which training do you support? Which one would you prioritize for the Cook Islands? Okay, yeah. So I think we have not heard from our colleagues from Micronesia. Do we have someone from Micronesia?
Yes, we have Anne Albert.
Okay.
And sorry to put you on the spot. Yeah, please do let us know.
Sorry, Ravneet, which N?
Anne
Albert.
Albert. Micronesia, sorry. Yeah.
Okay, she's saying
Okay,
all good. Thank you. So yeah, if there are any further comments, we see this. Yeah, I guess all these are a priority. Can we please add 4 to our list? I think that's Tonga, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes, that's Tonga.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, so there is quite a lot of interest for this training. So at least that shows that we have identified them correctly. But the downfall is, yeah, we will take into consideration all your requests. So I think the next steps would be that Ravneet will be sending to you all information that has been shared during this meeting, including the request for support form. And then he will be booking bilateral meetings with you so that he can help you fill in the request form. So it could be a couple of them. But if please make sure to indicate what's the priority, because as I mentioned, if each of the countries would like 3-4 in-country trainings, it might be a little bit difficult to to accommodate all in the first year. We will try, as I mentioned, to do our best and also look for other support providers among our partners that we can partner with to provide the support. But please understand if we are not able to provide all the supports that you need in this first year of the project. So we ask for your patience with us for that. So then once we get these requests, then we will look at them and get back to you with the dates on when the support could be provided, the prioritized one. Hopefully all of them, but just to be on the safe side, we might need to prioritize some of the support for each country. So that would be the next steps. So please then respond to Ravneet when he gets in touch with you so we can finalize this activity as soon as possible. Because as you know, we have 10 more networks and we need to coordinate activities across networks with the expertise that we have in-house. So it's really important to be able to get as much information finalized in the next couple of weeks maximum as possible. So that would be my plea for you for today. And I really look forward to continuing the work with you and that we support each other in making both the project a success, but also your transition to the BTR more importantly a success. So thank you very much all of you for participating. I see there is a hand. Jamie, please.
Yes, thank you. Just I guess just a point to help out the project here. If these national activities do have some sort of virtual aspect to it, maybe some countries could be able to train in those national activities as well. So it wouldn't have to be all in country. I think parties or countries here, we just want to gain more knowledge on these type of activities, even if it doesn't have to be in person, it could also be virtual trainings as well. But just a suggestion from here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. Yeah, this is something that we will take definitely into consideration. It's just that we thought that mainly for IPCC guidelines and also in modeling tools, being in the room with the participants gives much better results in terms of assimilation of the tools and really acquiring the knowledge that is needed than virtual training. However, we've done such trainings during the COVID because we had no choice, of course. So we will be keeping that in mind definitely in terms of to be able to accommodate as many requests as possible. And so thank you for that comment. I think there was another hand, maybe that was probably the same points that you wanted to raise, or it seems so, yeah. Good. Thank you very much then.
There's one more
Yes.
hand.
Sorry,
Henry?
I can hear you. Do you say there is one more hand? I cannot see any, but please
Yeah,
come in.
I guess Henry from Salman, did you want to say something? I guess not. Okay.
Yeah, I think not anymore.
No, he's there. He's there.
Yeah, okay, good. So thank you very much all. Ravneet, do you have any last words?
Yes, yes, definitely. So thank you everyone for joining in today. I guess now you know what we are doing here, or what kind of support that we are providing. And please bear with us and please help us out as much as you can. We are all in this together. Like we always say in negotiations, PCs together we stand strong, right? So let's try to do things together and keep the knowledge sharing happening, going, and keep this happening. Yeah, thanks. And I'm always available for support. You can email me or WhatsApp me. I'm always there. So yeah, thanks.
Yeah, don't hesitate to harass him. So he's there for you. So thank you very much, all for both from the countries and also our development partners. We really appreciate you participating really actively during this meeting. And also thank you very much to our colleague from Jeff, Esteban, for staying with us during this meeting. So we really look forward to starting the work with you. So stay tuned for contacts from Ravneet and also for further activities that we will be organizing also very soon. So thank you very much and have a great rest of the day. Goodbye.
Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
And good night to you, Fatima.
Yeah, it's now 1 a.m. We started the next day now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.